Hello everyone! So I know it's been a while since I've done a video for JP, but I decided to do one for this banner. We have a few exciting updates for the game, so I think it's good to, just let you all know what's happened. A lot of things. I've been kind of avoiding them because the characters and the content has been a little bit spoilery for people, but that's fine. Anyways, let's get into the updates first, and then we'll talk about the characters, and yeah. So we have some pretty cool stuff with this patch. We should be able to see it all. Where is the... Here. I can't find the... There it is. There's the update post. First up, we have Roman Tournament updates. Roman Tournament has been on hold for a couple weeks. It's coming back in like 2 days. Specifically, they're adding more event missions to it, so more rewards that everyone can get. They're adding a new memoria to the shop, and they're also adjusting the balance. So far, all they've said is they want to lower resistances to make on-attribute attackers more appealing, and they also want to make it easier to play, which I assume means lowering the damage of enemies. So it remains to be seen exactly what those two things mean, but it doesn't seem like they are going to be nerfing Awakened Resonant out of viability. And these changes will probably come to Global much sooner than they are on JP. Like, Global will probably get them at the beginning of the 3rd cycle, which is around the time the 1st anniversary stuff drops in general. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. But it's looking like for now that Awakened Resonant is safe and will still likely be the strongest option in general. It remains to be seen. They're also making some changes to the banners, the tournament banners. They're removing the paid versions and leaving only the free versions, and also adding tickets to them. So that's kind of interesting. It's weird that they're removing the paid ones, but I don't really mind. And then here they have finally added bulk synthesis. So now you can just dump all of your mana at once, and you can actually do it with characters and not just the simple synthesis. So I know a lot of people have been asking for that and looking forward to that. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Then we also have a new update where we can unlock characters to level 100. We have known about this for quite a while. It's been in the UI. The way it works is that you use these Seeds of Hope on a character two at a time to increase their level by 2. Current level cap on JP is 90, so you need 10 seeds to get a character up to 100, and they are non-refundable. There will not be research for level 100. The seeds are non-refundable. Once you use them on a character, they are gone. So it's kind of just a long-term, very limited character growth path for your favorite characters, your most used attacker, whatever like that. Limited resource. I will probably be throwing them into Awakened Resna, but we'll see. I'm gonna wait and see what the tournament changes are first before committing to that, but that's most likely what I'm gonna be doing. Then we also have a new update for Tower, and this is just 5 floors to the base tower. After I record this video, I'm gonna go run through them and then probably upload that to my VOD channel. So if you want to watch me do that, that'll also be on YouTube as well. And yeah, that's about it for the interesting updates. So there's some cool stuff here. I guess I can just show off the bulk synthesis really quick. If we go here, just make the item, put everything in like normal, and when you go to make the item, it just asks you how many you want to make. Throw in all of them, and they pop out with despair. Yep, bulk despair. Anyways, that is about it. Now, as far as the new characters go, they are 2 brand new characters to the game. We have Diona and Miike. They are supporters of the Lara Kingdom. Very cute. I like them a lot. And yeah, finally new characters. It's been a really long time since we've had actual new characters added. We've been getting, characters like Crow, Lara, Garen, etc. into the gacha, but those are characters that were already in the game before. This is the first time in a while we've had truly new characters added to the gacha, so that's pretty cool. And I do like both of them quite a lot. So let's go ahead and look at what their kits are. First up, we have the memoria. This memoria is kind of worthless. I don't know why anyone would use this or pull for it or anything like that. It has the same stats. So what it does is it's when equipped to a slash character, it gives all allies 23% skill damage. And it's like, okay, that's a decent memoria. The problem is Masterpiece does effectively the same thing with less restrictions, but it goes up to 28%. So Masterpiece is just better than this from the effect alone. This is basically the same effect as Welcome to the Party. Welcome to the Party is the ice version of this. However, the reason Welcome to the Party is still good and this isn't is because Welcome to the Party is 11% speed. This has the exact same stat spread as Masterpiece. So as far as I can tell, I don't see any situation where this is better than Masterpiece unless you specifically want damage on a breaker or defender. And if that is the case, then sure, waste your money, but it's not really like, it doesn't make it good. It just makes it niche. Anyways, I don't know why they made this. This should have a higher value for sure, or at least 11% speed. If it had 11% speed, it would make sense. But as they release this, it doesn't make any sense. It's not a good memoria. It's not worth pulling. But yeah, so characters. First up, we have Miike, who is a stab attacker, and she is actually a good attacker for once. So first up, she is an AoE attacker. She is an AoE Fizz attacker, the first one we've had since the start of the game. The only Fizz attacker with an area skill 2 up until this point was Mew from the start of the game. And Miike obviously is going to outclass Mew in a whole lot of ways. She does have 206% damage rate on her skill 2, which is quite high. I believe Izana's around 190, Samuraiza is 176, so she's already winning in damage rate, but then she has really good debuffs to go with it. Before attacking, lowers stab resistance by 25%, and also gives the enemy received physical damage 15%. And after attacking, she'll give herself a bit of physical attack. So it is a really solid skill 2 with high damage rate, resistance shred, and received physical damage. The only problem is that it is 175 weight, which means she will be faster because of that. The starting turn order is determined by a mix of speed and wait time on the skill 2. So this is actually a little bit of a problem because usually for attackers on like sweeper teams, you want your attacker to go last. So her being a little bit faster is kind of a problem. You do want her to go last so everyone can go first, and then she can throw items and sweep the entire board. This is especially true when you're using initiative, and she is in the Lanterna group, which means she can do Lanterna initiative, which has some very strong supporters, and that is probably going to be a very strong initiative comp. It just remains to be seen. However, it's not all bad. Even though her wait time is 175, making her a little bit too fast, her actual speed is quite low. And so if you minimize her speed as much as possible, say with the Sun Memoria and like a 4 speed accessory, stuff like that, fairly reasonable things, she can actually be outsped around like 273 speed, which is fairly reasonable for most supporters to hit. So even though this wait time is low and it can cause issues with turn ordering, she is slow enough that it should be fine. So she should end up being a very, very solid initiative sweeper just off of this skill 2, but it's not just that, her passive is absolutely crazy. It's basically a light version of Awakened Resna. And as you may know, if you've watched any of my videos on Awakened Resna is absolutely busted, so a light version of that is still going to be pretty broken. But this character can actually be used as an AoE sweeper, unlike Resna, who is single target on her skill 2. So if you want AoE, you need to get her burst. So Miike is going to be pretty good, but what the passive does is when she gets a panel or when she recovers HP, she gets 2 buffs. First buff is 10% physical attack, which stacks up to 100%, and the second buff is 30% stab damage, which stacks up to 5 times. So this will scale with damage buffet, but you can only have 5 stacks of it, right? So with damage buffet and like the amount of received buff effect that she'll likely have, this is going to end up being something like 450% stab damage, if she has 5 stacks, which is an absurd amount if you can get all of those heals for a, for a sweeper. That's just an absolute crazy amount of skill damage. She will be quite strong, I think. She'll be very good. So really solid attacker. I do like her quite a lot. And then her other passive is she gets increased damage when the enemy has a status effect, specifically paralysis, sleep, stun, or I think this was like King's Majesty, King's Light, Ruler's Light, something like that. It's a debuff from Lara, so she has some synergy with Lara because she is a follower of the Lara kingdom. Yeah, and then she also gets 30% bonus from blue panels, which is always a really strong effect, especially when you have supporters like Saskia who give reinforced blue panels. So really strong passives all around. And yeah, she's looking to be a very strong attacker indeed. As far as her burst goes, you probably won't be using it on her too often, unless you're using her for like tournament or something. She should be a pretty good stab attacker for a tournament. This burst is quite strong. It has 531% damage rate as opposed to 500%. They're kind of creeping damage rate a little bit nowadays. It has 150 penetration. Before attacking, it applies a permanent physical damage received buff, which stacks up to 100%. That's pretty good. And yeah, she just creates burst panels and stuff like, blue plus panels and stuff like that. So she's, yeah, not a bad burst attacker at all either. Like her single target burst is pretty heavy on damage. It's pretty dang good. And her skill 1 is kind of, it's whatever. It at least kind of does something. You usually aren't using skill 1s on attackers, but if you are using hers, it's okay. It gives 10% item gauge. It gives her a 5% speed buff, which is honestly more often going to be a downside than an upside because it kind of messes up your turn ordering, but it is what it is. And then it will also give paralysis for 2 turns to the enemy, so we do finally have another character that does paralysis. So yeah, kind of interesting skill 1. It does a lot, but it's not super relevant. And then we have her leader skill. Her leader skill is just initiative and 50% skill damage for the new creator tag. This is basically a Lara Kingdom tag. It only has those characters in it, which means she gives herself initiative. I think it's not really very good yet. Maybe as this tag gets more filled out, this leader skill will be a lot better, but for now it's not particularly useful, I think. Last up, we have her synthesis gift, which is single skill power on weird colors. Honestly, any single skill power or area skill power gift is completely worthless in my eyes until they actually buff them to 30% instead of 25%. It just feels so bad to like get these, traits that are niche, but they're the same as normal skill power, like it's the same value. So I don't know why they're still making these. I do hope they buff the traits, but they probably won't. But yeah, she's cute, she's strong. I'm glad they're finally making good characters again. It's kind of been a while since we've gotten a really strong character, like about 2 months since Awakened Resna, so very, very nice. Very happy with her kit. And then next, we have Diona. And if you thought Miike was good, Diona's like triple S tier. She's absolutely absurd. She is a slash supporter. I think our first slash supporter since Rorona, and then Pravda before her. But yeah, she is absolutely crazy. And the reason for that is because she gives a skill power buff. She is the first way in the game we have of getting skill power other than through traits. And that's just absolutely wild. Like, they're probably going to start doing skill power buffs more in the near future, I would imagine. So she probably won't remain special for long. But for now, she is quite good. Although not exactly for her skill 2, mostly for her burst. But yeah, so what she does is her skill 2 is, after using it, give 30% skill power and to a slash attacker. So all slash attackers on your team get 30% skill power, stacking up to 60% for 1 turn. And then she will also give minus 25% slash resistance to the enemy for 2 turns. So Very, very solid skill 2. It does a lot of things. However, it only applies to slash attackers, so it's pretty narrow in its usefulness. Obviously, we have some solid slash attackers like Logi, Lanza, Val, etc., right? Crow, but none of them are really meta at the moment or particularly exceptional, just solid. So her skill 2 is kind of whatever. But, you know, if you're focusing on a slash team, that's cool. Then she will also give all allies a buff where before attacking, they will lower the enemy's status effect resistance by 50%. This is useful if you need to inflict status resistance. It's a very large amount of status effect resistance, so that's not bad. But yeah, overall, outside of slash teams, this specific part of her kit will not see much use. However, the burst also gives skill power, and it doesn't have any restrictions. So it'll give 50% skill power stacking up to 100% to the ally with the highest physical attack, and also a little bit of physical attack as well. So this is a very, very, very powerful burst, especially combined with received buff effect and things like the Halloween memoria to scale its effectiveness, right? So you can very easily approach the 100% cap on the skill power, and on any team that's using buffet as one of their traits or crit damage as one of their traits, you'll have about like 75 to 90% skill power, making this burst alone, if you're capping it out, over 50% more damage by itself. And it's like basically a separate multiplier to everything else. It's really, really, really good. It's really, really strong. And I think she'll absolutely be meta, specifically for Roman tournament throughout all of the next cycle because of how powerful this burst buff is. Not only that, she restores item gauge by 30%, which is huge for Roman tournament and double stacking items in general. For a long time, double stacking items has been kind of difficult to do. It's been possible, but you have to really, you know, play around it. And for tournament, we've had a lot of problems making routes for tournament because you do need to do weird things sometimes to fit in the item recovery to use items at the right timing. So having this burst restore so much item gauge basically makes item recovery completely trivial. It just does a lot, right? So skill power, massive damage buff, item recovery, absolutely crazy. And I haven't even gotten to the second half of the skill, which is pretty funny. She has the same thing where it gives an effect based on if the enemy has one of the status effects that matter. So paralysis, sleep, stun, or the ruler's light. If the enemy has any of those, then she will turn all of the ally panels into burst panels. Yeah, she will just spam burst panels if the enemy is affected by one of these status effects, which is really funny looking. It's probably pretty hard to use, I think, but it is very funny. She just spams burst panels. I think especially for Roman tournament, that'll be a little bit too hard to use, but maybe you can come through and find a route where she chains her own bursts into each other. That would be very strong. And if you do pull off this in any scenario, it's just going to be very funny looking and pretty fun. So yeah, very, very cool character. On top of that, her passives are not slouching either. She has all allies get 20% skill damage, which of course scales with buffet. Very strong passive. This is pretty standard for supporters nowadays. Then her other passive, it's really good. After using a skill, restores 10% item gauge. That's, like I talked about earlier, restoring item gauge is really strong. This is even more item gauge restoration. So basically, after she bursts, your item gauge is already halfway filled again if you used items on her burst, right? Like, that is wild. And on top of that, it has a massive buff attached to it. Like Ellie, a character from the second banner in the game, she restores 50% item gauge with her burst and does literally nothing else. And obviously she wasn't good, but this character will be quite strong. And she also heals all allies for 5% HP. That's decent. It's actually pretty solid. She will probably run recovery, and this is useful in Roman tournament usually. This little chip healing when it's like on a passive is actually pretty decent, so yeah, pretty nice there. Then her skill 1, not anything too interesting. Slash allies get physical attack, and the enemy she targets gets received slash damage, so kinda like, It does something, but it's pretty mediocre overall. And then I guess last we have our leader skill, which is status effect resistance for all allies, or no, is that paralysis resistance? Yeah, paralysis resistance for all allies. And then when attacking an enemy with, is that paralysis or status effects? I think paralysis. Sorry, reading status effects is really hard. I'm illiterate. Skill damage 50%, so kind of a bad leader skill, but it does apply to all allies. But usually status effect leader skills are pretty dang not good. But yeah, those are the characters. They're very, very strong, both of them, I think. So very exciting to have a banner with actual good characters. And let's just go over the recipes real quick, and then we will start the polls. Alright, so for recipes, we have Miike's items first. This weapon is for stab attackers after using a skill. Get 13% physical attack for 1 turn. This is mediocre. We have the crystal rod on JP, which is just going to be better than this. And for a character that's kind of intended as a sweeper, usually you only have 1 turn anyway, so any effect that's going to not be applying to that first turn is going to be fairly weak. So I don't think this weapon is very good. Crystal rod is usually a lot better. Then for the armor, we have when the enemy is afflicted by a status effect, 19% skill damage. This is a little too narrow to be good. Status effect stuff is not really that useful in this game, as I'm sure you all know. And then the accessory is what's actually good. For stab characters, they get 18% received buff effect. So very strong on accessory. Received buff effect is the strongest stat in the game. So yeah, very, very good. However, it does have 10 speed, which might be a little bit of a problem with Miike. It does make it harder for everyone to get ahead of her, but it's still probably useful depending on the supporters that she ends up using. So yeah, not a bad item at all. And this will be for any stab character, not just attackers, but very, very solid accessory there. It just remains to be seen if Miike can even use it in specific comps, because it might make her too fast. We'll have to see. And then we have the items for Diona. First, we have her scissors. I love her scissors. And this is for slash supporters. After using a skill, give the ally with the highest physical attack 18% burst skill damage for 1 turn, and it can't be stacked. This is a really, really strong supporter weapon. 18% is a really high amount of skill damage. It's just limited specifically to burst skill damage. So while it is quite good, you do need to be using a setup where the burst skill damage actually matters, which is honestly decent for most strategies in tournament that don't revolve around Awaken Resna. So it'll be a pretty strong weapon for her for sure. Then we have the armor, which is just a generic supporter armor for giving all allies 3% physical skill damage. This is the physical alternative to the kimono that we've had since the Claudia event. We're finally getting one for Fizz. It's not really very good, but if there's nothing better for the specific attribute, then it'll do in a pinch. Then we have the accessory, which is 5% given recovery for slash characters. This accessory is quite bad. Thankfully, we have a really good slash supporter recipe from Tower, so it doesn't really matter too much that this is bad. It is what it is. And I'm not even going to go over these 2 usable items. They're just not relevant. I don't even want to look at them. They're not good. Also, one thing that's kind of fun, we did get a red Academy Uni now, so that's pretty cool. For all of you still making crit damage gear, the red Academy Uni will be, you know, if you're out of Academy Unis or making silver threads or things like that, very good material. But yeah, let's just get into the polls. I will be focusing on Diona, but I will stop when I get either of the characters, because we do have 20 tickets coming soon, so yeah, let's just send these and hope we get lucky. We got the winks already. Alright. What does it mean? We'll find out. So far it means nothing. Oh, no, this might, this looks like a pickup actually. Oh, Saskia's not there? Maybe it's not. It looks like a fake out into a pickup, but it might not be. I guess it is not. Just some random 3-star. We did not get the golden sparkles in the end. So who's it gonna be? Is that Resna? That is base Resna. Alright. Base Resna and nothing else? Yeah, base Resna and nothing else. Alright, next tickets. Hopefully these ones go a little bit better. They probably will not. We're gonna keep doing pulls though until I either get a character or run low on gems, so we'll see. But yeah, honestly both of these characters are really good. While I do want specifically Diona, either of them would be fantastic, so. Alright, we got a memoria. This is like the original Halloween memoria, right? The not good one. I don't even remember what it does. It was like a Vade or something, right? Got the animation for rolling, yeah. I did not have this before. Yeah, this is so bad. This is back when they didn't know what they were doing with the design for the game. Alright, let's keep going. One wink. Become poor on this banner? Oh, that would be tragic. They actually just instantly power creep Diona. But there's no way they do that. Surely. Alright, this looks like a lot of nothing. We'll just skip it. Yeah. Alright, pull number 4. My gems are disappearing. We're not gonna get Keithgriff. Still looks like nothing. Yeah, probably nothing again. There's a lot of variations to the animation too. Okay, still only one wink again. But we are not getting any variations, I am just getting rolled. For the time being. Still nothing. Nice. Any late fake out? Any meteor showers? Yeah, I didn't think so. Alright, this is the 6th one, right? This one will be fine? Uh-oh. Resna's winking a lot by herself today. Yeah. We got the one... I guess we have 1 3-star and 1 memoria, which is probably... Is that about on rate? I'm not sure. but it's been pretty bad. Okay, this is the one. See, we got the winks, it's fine. Okay, no, this looks pretty bad too. Let's get some... No, there's no Sasuke here, no sparkles, no nothing. Probably no fake out. Oh! That was a 3-star fake out. That wasn't pickup, I don't think. That was like super late on 3-star, yeah. I hinted another Resna. Ah, it's Beach Resna. Yeah, I already have all the Resnas on this account. So, I just keep getting more, apparently. Alright, we go again. Ready for nothing. Is this number 8? I think I'll go to 10. And hopefully we aren't completely screwed. Oh! This could be it. Yes, there it is. Okay. Now, hopefully, it's the character we're going for. And not the Memoria. If it's the Memoria, I'm gonna be very, very sad. Because I got the Memoria last banner. Off focus. Come on. Nice. Is that Diona? Diona? It sounds like Diona. Perfect. Okay, that took 7 multis. That's not bad at all. Very happy about that. Is it gonna show us the singing? What happens? Is she gonna start singing? Or does she not sing in the, Yeah, it's not gonna interrupt Shimatsuki, right? Or will it? No, it doesn't play the song. When she sings in this animation when you do it in battle, but they didn't want to interrupt Shimatsuki for the gacha. Honestly, a little disappointed about that. That's fine. Alright, any doubles? Surely not. Cool, perfect. Very happy with that. And yeah, when we get the tickets, we'll send them on miike, but that's a little while from now, so very cool. Anyways, that'll be it for this video. I wish you all luck with your pulls, and yeah, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.